I feel like you guys understand more about the body and my condition than any doctor I've ever met, and that you have helped me understand the actual causes of my condition.
3 months on, how do you compare yourself to how you were 3 months ago?
I feel like a different human being, really. I've got a lot more energy, and, you know, people say, oh, your complexion is brighter. I feel I can breathe. That's the main thing. I don't have that constant breathlessness. Like, I was sort of avoiding housework before because just washing windows would make me breathless, or sweeping the floors would make me breathless. And it was really kind of confronting and upsetting. So I just avoid doing it. And once I got that diagnosis of COPD, then my husband was sort of just taking over all that stuff, because I was so fatigued and I was sleeping every afternoon, and, you know, I felt like a 90-year-old woman. Now I have more energy, I can do more things, I can get through my day, I can get through my work day, I can do more around the house. I mean, he's still doing a lot of it. I'm still kind of trying to conserve my energy and my carbon dioxide wherever possible. But yeah, I feel a lot more hopeful. I think that's the main thing, because when I got that diagnosis, I knew what it meant, because I used to work in the hospital as a social worker, and I'd work with the pulmonary rehab group with all the old people that had COPD. And I'd seen them in the emergency department. I used to work in the ED and the ICU, and I'd seen people in all the different areas of the hospital that had COPD. And I used to say to my husband, oh, I'd hate to have COPD. It's just the worst thing. It'd be so horrible. And in the few months before I got the diagnosis, I was saying to my husband, I feel like an old lady with COPD. I've gone from running half marathons in probably just a year and a half to being breathless, doing just little things around the house, just walking up my stairs. So when I got that diagnosis, it was just devastating, because I knew what that means. There's no treatment, there's no cure. You know, they say give up smoking. Well, I gave up smoking 25 years ago. Eat well and exercise and look after yourself. Well, I've been doing that my whole life. So what else have you got for me? I felt hopeless. Western medicine just wants me to take more Symbicort. Here now you can have Spiriva as well. Here's more medication that I don't want. And that was really all they had to offer me. And I don't want that. Buteyko breathing to me is like, here's a system where you can manage this yourself. I feel kind of 100% empowered to manage my own health. I'm not dependent on doctors. I'm not dependent on those medications. I mean, I still have my prednisone and I need that at night for now, but I don't feel like I'm going to be in and out of hospital all the time, or in at the doctors all the time. I mean, I was getting chest infections every couple of months. I'd have antibiotics, and then I'd have more antibiotics, and then I would need prednisone anyway. And in the end, I said to my doctor, I actually only feel good when I'm on high doses of prednisone. That's the only time I feel normal. And he said, well, you can't keep doing that. Whereas since I've been doing Buteyko breathing, I haven't had any of the inhalers. Like, I've had no Symbicort, no Spiriva. I've only had the little tiny bit of prednisone every night, not the big doses that I was having. So I feel really happy about that. I feel like I've found the hack to manage my own health, and to be able to, you know, like if I do get a bit wheezy or if I do feel a bit breathless, to be able to manage that myself means so much to me, you know, that I don't have to, I haven't been to the doctor, haven't been sick once, you know, in 3.5 months, I haven't had a single chest infection, even a runny nose, nothing. I feel really well. Whereas before I felt like I was just going, getting worse, you know. So those are probably the main things. And I was so tired before, and my voice was really hoarse for like 6 or 8 weeks. I had this really hoarse throat. Everyone was joking and saying, oh, it's really sexy. I'm like, this isn't sexy. For years, I'd been just clearing my throat, like all day long. I'd be at yoga going, and then this green phlegm would fly up my, you know, like often I'd have to really cough it up. Something I really hated was everybody always thought I was sick. Oh, you've got a terrible cough. I'd be talking to a client and I'd cough up this horrible green phlegm. Everyone would say, when I told them I've got emphysema or COPD, and they'd be like, but you're the healthiest person I know. It felt awful to have all these symptoms and signs that my health wasn't good at all when I'd worked so hard for it to be good. Now I feel like I've still got a long way to go, but at least now I've found something that I know is working, that I'm really in control of. I really need to feel kind of independent and in control of this. And it's the kind of diagnosis where most people don't feel empowered at all with COPD. Most people feel very scared and out of control.
Is there anything else you would want other people to know from your experience, Jules?
Well, just to let people know other things I'd tried. So I really had done the Western medicine thing. I'd tried all the medications. I'd been to several different naturopaths, homeopaths. I'd done the supplements and I'd done the herbs and all these elimination diets because I had all these kind of allergies to foods and things. I'd done all this acupuncture. I'm an EFT practitioner, so I'd done all this EFT with all these different people and on myself. I was going to an integrative doctor who did energy healing. And, you know, I had spent so much money and time over the years trying to just find out what's wrong with me and why aren't I getting better? Because I'm doing all the different things in Western medicine and then kind of alternative medicine. I felt like I've tried everything and really none of it helped. Some of it gave temporary symptomatic relief, but that breathlessness, which is just awful, would always be back straight away, sort of thing. So I guess I'd want people to know that there is hope, you know, like if you have COPD or emphysema, this is something that if you really do apply yourself, and it is a lot of work, and for this condition, it takes a lot of time and effort and persistence, but it really does work. Like I knew from the first, even just the first 3 nights when I taped my mouth overnight, I'd gone from waking up really tired and just feeling fatigued the whole day and having to sleep in the afternoon. The first 3 nights when I taped my mouth, this is before I even did the beginner's course, I had all this energy. And my husband was like, "Are you okay?" I was cleaning the house all day and then I was in the garden all day. And he just kept saying, "Should you have a rest? Is it okay that you're doing this much?" So I knew straight away before I was even doing the breath holding that just by taping my mouth at night made a massive difference to my body and my energy. And then I knew within the first week of doing that beginner's course, I mean, I could just tell straight away my control pause went from being, what was it? It was like 10 or 12 or something. Oh, 8. Yeah, it was 8. And the maximum pause was 15 or something, I think. And I felt so bad. And it just went up and up and up and up. And I could tell straight away that this really works. Because I was pretty sick. I just had a chest infection and everything was triggering me. Everything was just making my lungs worse and worse. So my husband was spray painting a trailer and I had this massive sort of flare up of the COPD and had to go to hospital and I couldn't breathe. And they put the pulse oximeter on my finger and they said, "Oh, your oxygen sats are 96, you're all right." And I'm just like, I can't breathe. Like, they don't know anything about it, do they? They don't know anything about how to measure breathing. And my doctor's very supportive. He's researched it. He's very interested in it. He trained to be a naturopath before he became a GP. So he has been blown away by my results. We just did all these blood tests to just check because I have lost a lot of weight. That's another thing I would say to people. If you need to lose weight, Buteyko is really good for that. I didn't need to lose weight and I've lost all this weight. So he just ran some bloods to make sure everything's okay. And he said, "Your blood test results are pristine, but I have this high cholesterol. Well, it's come down. All of my absorption of vitamins and minerals and things is really good." What else? I sleep heaps better. My sleep has improved so much from what it was. I don't have the phlegm anymore, really, unless I'm cleansing. Very rarely have phlegm coming up. I don't spend all my days clearing my throat. That's much less of a problem. It still occasionally is a problem. And when I'm doing the practice, I might be a little bit, but nothing like it was. What else? I just get through my day much better. I can stay awake later. I used to be asleep at 7:30 at night. Now I'm up doing my last practice at 9 p.m. and I'm not going to sleep until 10 p.m. So that's really good.
What advice, Jules, would you give anyone around cleansing?
For me, the main thing with the cleansing is to have the practitioner support, because there's a lot to learn with Buteyko breathing. I feel like you guys understand more about the body and my condition than any doctor I've ever met, and that you have helped me understand the actual causes of my condition. it's fine when everything's going as expected, but when you go into cleansing mode and your body starts doing strange things and it gets harder to do the practice and your control pause drops and you might have weird symptoms happening in your body. And initially I felt very discouraged, like, why is this happening? I'm being so good and I'm trying so hard and it's all, you know, I don't know what's happening. And to be able to just message you or send an email and say, what the hell's happening here? And that for me to have that reassurance, this is normal, this is supposed to happen, your control pause is supposed to drop. This is a good sign that your body is actually discharging these symptoms and toxins and infections and emotions, and to be reassured that the tears were just another form of discharge. That's actually for me what I found the hardest, like the physical symptoms when I was cleansing, when I am cleansing, usually they're things I've already had lots of. So wheezing, breathlessness, phlegm, throat clearing. You know, I've had that for years. So it is a bit disconcerting when that stuff starts happening again and you've had all this time of it not happening. But I know how to manage that. You know, I know that I just need to do more steps or more pauses or whatever. So I don't find the physical stuff that difficult, although it makes the practice difficult at times, especially in the earlier days. For me, what was harder was the emotional or the mental symptoms. That's what I found really challenging, because I'd feel absolutely sort of depressed and hopeless and helpless and I'm never going to get better. And in the early days, I just sort of cried all day for one day, or even there was a time I just felt like I cried all day for 2 days and I couldn't stop. And I didn't even want to do tapping or anything to help myself. I was just, and it was so nice to have someone say, this is okay, do some steps. This is just how it is for you at the moment. It's okay. So for me, with the cleansing, whether it was physical or mental, just to have that advice, this is normal, it's okay, it's a good sign, this is what you can do about it. Get in touch. I mean, having you constantly say to me, please get in touch if you need to. And I never abuse the system, but just to know that there's someone you can call if you're in trouble, if you do the practice as you've been trained to and it's not working, that there's always somebody you can get in touch with. That's what got me through the cleansing, really, because nobody else in your life has got any idea. I mean, that's the sort of problem with this. My husband and my sister are very supportive, but they don't know anything about Buteyko breathing other than what I've told them. And so when I'm in cleansing mode, I'm in this kind of rough ocean, you know, and I'm being like, my body's going through all these weird changes and I'm just like this flailing little person in a big rough sea, and having the practitioner is like someone in a lifeboat or something that's putting their hand out and saying, it's okay, I'm here and this is normal and you'll get through this and it won't last and just do this and this, and if that doesn't work, try that. That's really important, because there isn't really anyone else that you can talk to who knows what you're going through. That's what I like as well with Buteyko, is the practitioners have been through all this themselves in a different, you know, they've all got different conditions, and so your experience of it is different to mine, but I feel like you really know what I'm talking to when I say, but it was really hard. And oh, do I have to do it again? And I'm dreading it, you know, and all this sort of resistance. I feel like you really know what I mean when I say that, but you still will help me find a perspective.
Only you could change your breathing, only you could change your body chemistry, and it's your diligent, persistent practice, repetition, repetition.
But it's really good to have someone just encourage you to keep going, because when my husband saw me in the sort of depths of despair, he might have thought, do you need to be doing this? You know, is this really a good thing if this is how you feel? I mean, he never would have said that. But, you know, he's seen me really suffering going through this process in a way. It's not pretty, is it? Like, it's the cleansing stuff can make you feel like it's pulling you apart. But then he'd see me get so much better afterwards and have these long periods. Like, I've just had a sort of a 2-week period of feeling like there's practically nothing wrong with me. If I just keep doing the practice, you know, each day, I can enjoy this quality of life that is foreign to me. So he knows it's worth it. But just to have your encouragement that, you know, this won't last forever and this is just temporary and this is what you do. And just to have someone to say, keep going, there'll be another side. This is uncomfortable, but you'll get to the other side, and then you wake up the next day and you go, oh, I feel fine again. So that support is so important. If you've got something like I have, like COPD, I wouldn't just muck around with it at home. I wouldn't start Buteyko breathing. I say to everybody, do the course, get the help of the practitioner, because I don't want to waste my time. And if I'm going to be spending this time, this energy doing something that is really quite difficult at times, I want to know that I'm doing it properly. I want to know that I'm going to get the results. And to me, it's really very affordable. The help that you guys offer is so good. I don't think it's expensive compared to other things. And just invaluable to be able to, have that contact when you need it, not have to wait till Monday morning at 9 o'clock.
Well, you breathe 24 hours a day.
That's right. And it is in the night. I mean, lucky for us that my middle of the night is your morning usually, isn't it? Or it's a reasonable time of the day for you. It often is in that middle of the night that you will need help. Or for me on the weekends, actually, I'd often seem to struggle on the weekends with cleansing for some reason. The persistence and the patience, like I think I said to you in the beginning, I'm not a patient person. And you really have to learn patience, because you have to be, persistent and patient and keep practicing. But if you do, the reward's definitely there. I can't recommend it highly enough. For me to actually know the cause of what's wrong with me is important. Learning about Buteyko's discoveries and that this is the cause of 200 plus chronic diseases. Because I feel like with emphysema, there's all this stigma around. One of the nurses at the hospital said to me, do you know what's really good for people with COPD? Giving up smoking. I gave up smoking a very long time ago. But what if I was still smoking? What are you trying to say to me? It's your fault? How can it be smoking when I haven't smoked in such a long time? So now that I understand what I understand about control pause, about carbon dioxide, I just think that's all that's wrong with me. I've been a mouth breather my whole life because I had such terrible sinus problems as a younger person. So I'm sure I've been just sleeping with my mouth wide open. I've probably had low carbon dioxide most of my life, and that's what's wrong with my lungs. It really helps me to understand what the cause of it is, to not sort of feel like it's my fault, and to feel like there's something I can do about it that's natural and acceptable to me. Whereas just sucking on Symbicort all day, that's not acceptable to me. And being on antibiotics all the time and ruining my health, that's just not acceptable to me. So I just like that Buteyko offers me this alternative, and it helps me understand what's wrong with me and how to help myself. To me, that's worth more than anything in the world, really. But nobody could really tell me what's wrong with me for the longest time. And then when I finally get the diagnosis, I'm like, what? How can that be? And nobody can tell you why. Like, why do you just start getting asthma at 40-something in the first place? And then why is it 1 month you can run a half marathon and then a few months later you can't even run 5Ks? Like, why is this happening to me? And now I feel like I understand. It's just been because of the way I've been breathing my whole life, hyperventilating chronically, and that's not anyone's fault. It just helps me to feel this is just my body's way, and I'm thankful in a way now that I understand the whole business of the importance of carbon dioxide. I think, well, actually, I'm lucky that my body has been giving me all these symptoms to say, hang on, there's something wrong here. You need to change the way you're breathing. And now that I have, I can feel like instead of going down, 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 I'm going up, 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 up. And it's slow, and it's not like that. It's sort of like, woo, 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 woo. But it's all in the right direction. Whereas before I felt like there wasn't going to be any. If I'm already doing everything that they suggest for COPD, by not smoking and eating healthily and exercise, if I'm already doing all that and I'm just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, the drugs don't even help that much. What am I just going to do? Wait until it just gets worse and worse. That's what happens with COPD. And then you die. And I'm like, I'm too young for this. I'm too young and healthy. I'm not just going to do that. So if you like a system where you feel in control and you feel you can manage your own symptoms and you don't mind a bit of hard work, then Buteyko will be for you. Because what's the alternative? For me, I just feel like there's no alternative, really. I mean, I'd choose this no matter how hard it is because of the results that you get. And it's getting less and less hard. I even look forward to the practice. Sometimes it's really quite enjoyable and it's quite meditative, and that feeling, like sometimes it's a bit euphoric, isn't it? When you hit that high 90 seconds for me at the moment, you know, and then I'm doing my very shallow breathing. It's quite amazing. It's not all difficult anymore. So I'm really glad that I went through those really difficult phases to get to this phase where it's not just difficult all the time. I'm scheduling it in. No, I need to do it and I want to do it and it'll make me feel better. It doesn't feel like this horrible thing I'm doing to myself anymore. It feels like I want to do this because I know it's giving me life. You know, it's waking my body up and it's giving me health again that I'd sort of lost. And really, I only get the symptoms now if I'm cleansing or if I'm a bit overdue for a practice. So sometimes I'm feeling so good that all of a sudden it's been 5 or 6 hours and I haven't done a practice and I'm still feeling good, but I think, oh, I better top up because I don't want to get any symptoms. That's so nice to have those days where I'm really only just doing it before I'm eating or because I know it's better to do it more often. It's certainly getting easier and easier, so that's nice. And it makes you feel really calm. I think that's all I wanted to say.